Ahoy!
Welcome back to Girl Historians.
I'm Carly.
And I'm Blair.
This is the comedy podcast where we talk about history and our girls.
And we're back outside.
Yep, class outside.
Class outside. I feel
Do you want to talk about the context in which you're bringing in?
Oh, which one? That I saw a skateboarder get hit by a car?
Yes, that.
Okay, so I didn't see it, but yeah, when I was walking here, there was just like a million cops. And of course, I'm so nosy, so I'm like looking around and I see a snap skateboard on the sidewalk.
Which you hate.
And then this lesbian firewoman was like, "Do you want to cross the street?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then she was like, "You got to cross now." And I was like, "Okay." And then she kind of shuffled me out of there. But yeah, and then I looked it up and there's been a big accident.
That's so sad. This intersection is always fucked. Like the intersection by my house is always, there's been times where I've literally like put my hands on the hood of someone's car and been like, what is
What are you
fucking
doing?
wrong with you?
I also almost got hit by a car when I was getting off the streetcar today coming here. Because they just like zoom by the streetcar exit because there's like a lane in front and the lights light up on the street. It's really hard to explain if you don't know what a streetcar is.
Well, okay, so it's like so you know when you like think about like San Francisco and they have those little like trolleys or whatever. That's kind of what a streetcar is. It's basically a bus, but it's connected to like an electric wire above it. It's kind of like I would describe it as trolley adjacent.
It's like somehow really futuristic, but also like the oldest style of transport in the world.
If you watch Hairspray, the musical, the movie.
Oh yes, you can
there's
see them
streetcars in that.
Beautiful. I love the streetcar.
But I do love the streetcar too. I think it adds to the vibe of the city.
I like to be above ground. I don't love to be underground.
But the problem is that being underground, you get places faster.
Oh, so much faster. It's not even funny.
Yes.
I took the long way home on the streetcar the other day from the East End, and it took me an hour and a half. And on the subway, it would have taken me like 27 minutes.
Well, I'm doing the Toronto Fringe, which has now been relocated to the Distillery District, which we love, we love. Such a lovely, normal, easy place to get to when you live in Toronto. And everybody was talking about, like, how the hell are we going to get there because we want to drink after the show. And there's basically two options of, like, you either take the subway to King and then you take the King streetcar, which is a bus right now.
Oh, yeah, it's a nightmare. No, you got to get off at Queen.
This is what I've heard, but apparently the Queen doesn't go all the way to Distillery.
Oh, not right now.
Not right now.
But you could. Oh,
and then
but the
people
King
also
might.
said that the Parliament bus. Well, the King does go all the way there, but it takes forever and it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And then you could also take the Parliament bus or
the Parliament bus
go
that
to
comes
Broadview
every
and
45
take the
minutes.
Queen one. Yes, exactly. So every single person who was doing the show took a different way to get there, and every single person was like, "It was a fucking nightmare. It was a waking nightmare."
I remember once when I was a literal teenager. I think I was like 14 or 15, like not even an old teenager, like a young teenager. I can't remember why, but I had to
you're
be
not
in the
winning
Distillery.
the Hunger Games.
No, I'm not winning. Like,
you're
I'm
getting
dead.
slain. You're getting slain.
Yeah, I'm rue.
You're stepping off the platform before the games start getting exploded.
Yeah, exactly. I have no hope in the Hunger Games at this age. But I got on this random bus leaving the Distillery, and it took me down to like the Portlands, which is like now they're kind of developing it. Back then, it was actually nothing.
It was
parking
lots.
Space. Literally parking lots. And it drove through there for like an hour and a half, and I was like, I'm gonna die. I'm alone. There was like one other person on the bus, and the bus was something random. The bus doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah, the buses. There's been times where because if I have like a random rogue friend who lives all the way down south there. The buses there are always terrifying.
They just kind of send them on different routes. They're sort of like, this one's called the Skylight Express.
And you're like,
just
what?
We just kind of drive wherever the driver feels like. And the stops are all made up.
It's like the night bus. It's literally the night bus. Like, you're just like, I guess we're going wherever I'm needed to go in my soul.
Yes,
it's going to deliver me the journey that I need it to be on.
Yeah.
It's not going to get me home, but it's going to get me in a greater way to the next spiritual plane.
Exactly. It's ascending the dimensions, and I've got a bobblehead on the dash,
of course,
of the bus saying
it's
going to be a bumpy ride.
It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Which was a crazy thing to add to the night bus in Harry Potter.
Say what you will about J.K. Rowling. She let us know who she was right from the start, and we didn't see it. And we ignored.
We were like Seamus Finnegan, the Irish kid who blows things up. Cho Chang. Two Chinese last names.
Totally
and that's
fine.
Cool. And
no
that's amazing.
No notes at all. I think that this is actually really good.
But you know what she did that was...
Kingsley Shacklebolt? Kingsley Shacklebolt, the only black character?
Where's he from? Kingsley Shacklebolt. You know what was progressive, though? Padma and Pavarti Patel, for the reason only that they were twins, but they were in different houses, which I think did a lot for twins.
Not actually the representation.
No, the representation terrible.
But
you see
that in the new show, I think they cast for the twins like a Portuguese woman.
Good. Playing both of them?
Yeah, I think
sure. Why not? Let's fucking go.
I mean, if you're already gonna redo it, and she's such a raging transphobe. You might as well be like, how offensive. Let's just make Harry Potter for the alt-right.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Honestly, as long as someone in that cast is stealth trans, I'm happy.
If one of those kids,
there's gonna be one.
If one of those kids is not trans, I'm gonna be so fucking pissed.
For some reason now asexual.
Oh yeah, well she hates the asexual community so much.
God, we need to put a ban on talking about J.K. Rowling on this podcast.
I know, I can't
so
though. It's pathological. Like I actually can't stop talking about her because to me it's like. I think this is a very like kind of like goofy, very earnest thing to say that I don't always like to say, where people are like who do comedy are like, I'm not interested in doing comedy that's not about the things that are going on in the world right now. And I do, although I think that is kind of overly earnest, I do think that's true. It's like I can only talk about the things that are actively happening. And to me it's like I can't let anyone forget for 1 second that she's not just a transphobe, but like stupid.
Oh yeah,
she's
like she's dumb.
Dummy stupid. Like she's not even doing the like Jordan Peterson like overly academic use. She's just like saying Pedro Pascal is ugly on Twitter when it's like, mama.
Is she really?
Yeah, and I'm like, mama.
Dude, she's so funny.
You don't want to open the ugly door. I'm saying this as a woman, like
don't do
as
it.
you are aging,
girl.
you don't want to start calling people ugly
because
there's nobody the internet wants to call ugly more than an aging woman.
Yeah.
Even if you look fine, they want to be like crone. Like you don't want to open that door.
Yeah, like girl, what are you doing?
She's not good at even being like an internet troll. She's just stupid. And also, like, the amount of times I'll talk about it on my YouTube channel and I'll say, like, she's a transphobe, and people will be like, no, she's actually not. I'm like, to me, in my brain, I'm like, nobody would ever listen to what I have to say and support J.K. Rowling. But they do, and I want them to know that they're, like, not welcome here. So we have to talk about how she's a stupid transphobe every episode.
Dissonance. I was laughing, though. I put on a YouTube video last night, just kind of playing in the background while I did stuff. I had a rancid day yesterday.
Yeah, you had a bad day.
A rancid day with my stupid ass landlords.
Yeah.
They're so stupid. Basically, I have to pay them $1,000 to just not be in a court case for the next year and a half, even though part of me really wants to. And that's, I think, a dangerous trait.
You could, but I agree.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
I'm going to cut years off my life with the heart palpitations.
No.
I'm going to get.
Also, if it was one person, if you had just like one landlord, I'd be like, do it. But a company is tough because the company actually has money to put behind it. Whereas if it was just one person who was your landlord, I'd be like, go. They're not going to want to deal with it. And then they'll just, because that's what they say about like a lot of disputes. It's like, just go to the landlord-tenant board, and they don't want to deal with it so much that they'll just cut it out. Yeah.
Yeah, they're also like, I'll give them this. They are amazing at being impossible to actually contact in any sort of real way.
Do they live in Canada? Like, is the company based in Canada?
Well, I found out, this is why it's really shady. I found out that the company that actually runs my building is like a holding company for this other company. So they all hide behind this company that is untraceable.
It's like how Catholic Church, like, you know what I mean? Where it's like random companies are actually funded by like the what's it called, the what's that really homophobic church? It's not Warby Parker, and it's not
Warby Parker.
I also thought I almost said the Jem'Hadar, which is like a Star Trek super race.
Crazy two poles, crazy.
But you know what I'm talking about? The Westboro Baptist Church.
Yes, there
not
we go.
Warby Parker.
Warby Parker, their eyeglass company, is funding transphobes everywhere.
Yep. Ooh, this helicopter is circling again.
Yeah. Welcome back to the Girl Historians Immersive Experience, by the way. There's a helicopter that's getting the news on the collision.
Yeah, I think it's that, because but I've been out here every day the last 3 days. Not 3 days, like
Beautiful.
the last week. I do a little bit of sun tanning in the morning. And like by sun tanning, I mean like I have so much sunscreen on, it's not even funny.
But you're soaking up the sun.
It's lizard. It's lizard on a rock vibes, right?
Yes.
Like it's like we're so vitamin D deficient that I'm getting the vitamin D. And I'm also obviously out here with my birdwatching binoculars, and that helicopter is here all the time. It's kind of crazy. I don't know what the deal is. There must be a pad around here.
Yeah, maybe it's just some rich guy.
It might be.
But anyway, at the end of the day, I put on this, like, I was just like playing content because I was like, I need some content to make me feel better.
Something in the background.
Because like by the end of the day, I just accepted. I'm like, you know what? $1,000 is burning a hole in my pocket anyway. I kind of wanted to get rid of it. So I'm just going to give it to my landlord as charity. And so I put on a YouTube video, and then when it ended, it autoplayed your newest video, I guess.
Oh, great!
Which YouTube thinks I want.
Yeah,
love
you
that.
Don't.
But you know, I'll give you the view.
I appreciate that. That video kind of flopped, so it's actually really good to hear that.
Well,
you got
was
me
it
a view.
Well, because when I looked at it, it was like it was the fucking Sirius Black and Remus Lupin one.
What's
I was like,
so funny?
I'm screaming.
What's so funny about that is like that video kind of flops, and I'm surprised. Like I'm like, what?
It didn't flop.
Well, it didn't flop, but it there's like the thing that's really broken about my brain, and I think it's just broken if you're online for a certain amount of time, is you just get certain amount of views once, and then that becomes a new benchmark, which is poison,
sure.
which is poison in my brain. So it's like the fact that a video in like 2 days or 3 days gets like 150,000 views, and I'm like flop, is like brain.
Flop,
that's mental
bullshit.
illness. Like that is a
No.
mental illness.
But
it's
is what
also
it is.
like it's funny to me that I make videos on the stupidest shit, and that plays. That I make that, and I'm like, what? This is not mass appeal.
You guys aren't loving this?
What do you mean? I thought it was
You guys
mass
aren't
appeal.
loving this?
I thought you guys would love this.
Thought you guys would love
I have no
it.
gauge of people like my interests are so removed from the.
You
general
more than
population.
me. You're way more plugged in. I don't know what the fuck anyone's talking about.
Yeah.
I
Thank
watched
you for the view, anyways.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Anyway, I was just like laughing because I was like, I think Carly's video is playing. And I looked at it. I was like, of course she's made a fucking video about Lupin and Sirius. I'm gonna scream. And I was like, I'd already had such a fucked up day. I was like, of course.
Yeah, this is the perfect way to end this day. Yeah. This might as well
just
be
my best friend's
going
video on that on Wolf Star is playing in the back. I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
I also went and did this like aggressively hard Pilates class, which is not like me.
Oh.
I don't like hard exercise, but I was so mad that I
How is it hard? Like, I haven't really done Pilates. Like, what makes a Pilates class hard?
Okay, so I think it's just kind of to each their own. I think that there are some things that people are better at and worse at.
Yeah.
Because Pilates, I do believe, is the everyman's exercise.
Yes,
The more I've
definitely.
looked into it, it's supposed to be something everyone can do, which has really kind of been like disgustingly kind of like warped by these like Pilates girls.
As with the same thing with yoga. It's like yoga
yeah.
was like actually like a spiritual practice
Yeah.
for a cultural group, and now everyone's like, but what if you body check?
Yes.
I hear you, but what if we body check the whole time?
And the place I go to,
And
I really
Taylor
like,
Swift blasts.
And
Taylor Swift, Reputation, bad tracks
you.
only, ready
Shake
for it.
your body, it's
Only
you.
Endgame featuring Ed
Yeah.
Sheeran and Future.
What?
Yeah.
See, these are things that you're plugged into and I'm not.
Well, recently we were
I
talking
didn't know
about it the other
Future was
day.
still making music.
I know. Well, this was in 2019. We were talking about it the other day because we were like, what? We were talking about like what are Taylor Swift's worst songs, and I was like, it's got to be first of all Me featuring Brendan Urie. That song
Awful.
is awful. But yeah, I think I got to figure out because the feature tracks. Continue talking about Pilates, but the feature tracks on Reputation are horrific. I would say, yeah, Endgame, Taylor Swift, and Future. Oh, that's the only one. The other one I'm thinking of is from the new one where it's got Post Malone, which I'm like, and why?
Oh.
Fortnite featuring Post Malone.
Fortnite.
And we aren't going to talk about
There's
Taylor Swift on this because people have
Fortnite.
actually explicitly instructed us to not talk
Fortnite.
about Taylor Swift.
I've got a fortnight
we
left
won't.
before Post Malone comes over
Yeah.
to my
kind of how he
house and
sounds.
he makes Russell Stover dinner.
Wow. Bars.
That's how it goes.
I love that.
Anyway,
We should do an episode on Taylor Swift's obsession with the Kennedys, though. I think people
God,
have been
yeah.
really requesting that.
I think we need it. I'm ready to do the Kennedys for the next 2 years.
Yeah, as long as y'all keep
personally.
watching, I feel like we keep.
You guys keep watching. We'll keep delivering. Anyway, I can't remember why. I just did.
You did a hard Pilates class.
Oh yeah, and then I was angry.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, I just like an observation that I've had because my Pilates studio that I go to is very like it's a lot of people who exercise for mental health. You know, like it's not the place you
it's
go.
not gym babe vibes.
No,
Yeah.
but there are still like those like Pilates princess girls that show up there, and guys, I hate to say, a lot of them are really bad at Pilates.
Well, that's the thing.
The people who I've really noticed are the best at Pilates, who are really putting in a goddamn shift, are like the tatted up alt girls.
Always.
Like there's this rockabilly
Always.
girl who goes to my studio.
Yes. I haven't seen a rockabilly girl in a hot mo.
And she's like probably
ModCloth,
like
head to
she's
toe.
she's like ModCloth coated, like little
Bouffant.
bangs. Like obviously she's not wearing a bouffant,
but the vibe of
but
the
like the
bouffant.
vibe of the bouffant. I'm like, I'm sure if I saw you not in like spandex,
You'd
but
be
wearing a little
rocking
bouffant,
your
she's like
bouffant.
tatted up, like all this stuff,
Nicest
whatever.
boyfriend in
She's
the
probably
world.
like a size 12 or 14 or
Yeah.
something. Like she's not skinny by any means. She rocks through
Yes.
this, just hammers this class.
No, I agree.
And I'm like,
I
I'm a
agree.
Pilates truther now, guys. I hate to say it, I'm a Pilates truther.
That's how I felt at hot yoga. It's never the body type that people associate. I mean, we know this. We know this as
or
a
it's like
culture.
the 50-year-old mothers.
Yes. It's always somebody who's like minimum pear shape, rocking, like actually just built, ready to go.
Yeah.
Can like can tie their body in a full knot. You know what I mean? Where I feel like
It's like, cool.
somebody would look at somebody like me and be like, no, that's somebody who goes to yoga every time. Where I'm like huffing and puffing in the back of the room. And it is just, I think that's what's so nice about like adult workout classes that aren't at like the really chic places is you do remember, you're constantly reminded of the fact of like that body does not equal health.
For sure.
You know? You're like, oh no, it's just like, you can never really tell. And then somebody just pops out and they can do like a headstand.
I know.
And you're like, you can do a headstand.
I'm still not good enough at yoga to do a headstand, obviously.
I don't think you
hate
need to be.
being upside down.
No, that's what
And
I'm
when people start
feeling.
pulling out headstands, I get scared.
I don't like that. I also famously would text you when I was really in my hot yoga phase. And anytime there was a man in the class, I was really upset.
Oh, I know.
I was really, and it's not a man, let's be clear. I love men. Some of my best friends are men. But it's a man who comes with long ponytail.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Hindu tattoos.
Yes.
And leggings.
And
I'm
then
terrified.
And then they can't do shit.
I'm terrified
They
of that.
can't do
And they really
shit.
breathe really heavily, and then they breathe their breath into my face, and I hate that.
What is up with the heavy breathing? I'm like, there's no way that is this hard for you.
No, because I'm like, we're all huffing and puffing, but you're huffing and puffing to blow my damn house down.
Well, this is like, I'm like, in yoga too. It's like they're like, oh, breathe, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're supposed to fucking breathe.
It's because they're gym
like
broing it. It's because they're pushing themselves past the limit where they don't understand that yoga is like a passive exercise. Like, you get better at it slowly. You're not supposed to be like doing a plank and like dying.
Yeah. I do think it's funny though, every once in a while where like a guy will show up and he'll be so bad at yoga, but like I really do feel bad because like men just have worse hip mobility in general.
I do feel for them because
So
it is not, you can't just stumble into a yoga class and kind of be okay at it like I think most girls can.
Yeah, because they're like the way you're putting your legs and arms in directions, it's like this isn't stuff that guys do.
Yeah.
But like, or just like if you don't have good hip mobility, you're at such a disadvantage. But I was in a yoga class last week where a guy was there and he was having a rough time, and so he just did child's pose for half an hour.
Hell yes! Now that's
that's
my king. That's my king. That's what I want.
He was annoying when he was doing it. He was doing the huffing and puffing thing though. And
but
I was
just
like,
do
oh
a child's pose.
Just do a child's pose.
I love when somebody I've been that person too.
Oh yeah.
Of like you just have a class and you're like, I can't.
Especially I'm really bad.
Visible child's pose for 25 minutes in the middle of the workout.
I'm also really bad at getting into downward dog. Once I get into it, I'm fine. I don't like being upside down. But it's not even that. I just like, I'm bad at it. And I can't figure out why. Because sometimes I do it right. And I'm like, oh, I get it. It's just like a weird basic skill that I haven't quite mastered.
I have blood pressure issues with downward dog. I wonder if it's similar to that. Like I feel a bit ill when my head is upside down. Like it feels like I don't feel great. Like boom, boom. Like I wonder if it's that.
Because I think some people they're like I have no issue with any other of the basic poses except for downward dog.
I love a pigeon.
I love a pigeon.
That feels good.
I can sit in a pigeon for
that
hours.
Feels good.
I can sit in a pigeon until I cut my circulation off my legs.
Exactly. My legs are white.
Yeah,
they're not pale. There's no blood.
They're not well. I have to go home. But yeah, other than that, the only other thing I have to update you on is I watched Canadian Bacon last night.
What's Canadian Bacon?
It's directed by Michael Moore, the documentary filmmaker, but it's a fiction movie starring John Candy, and it's from 1995.
Great.
And the president of the United States starts a Cold War with Canada.
Love.
And it is
relevant.
It's a gag, guys. The reviews of this online are absolutely awful.
I can imagine.
People hate it. I thought it was just a gag. I laughed out loud so many times. Especially because, like, I think it's kind of had a little bit of a resurgence because
of the times?
Yeah, because Trump wants to go to war with Canada.
Yeah.
In a way that's
awesome.
Pretty
There's
strange.
a kind of, like, I think it's something, like, it's some kind of, like, airplane or something taking off around here that truly sounds like what I imagine an atomic bomb dropping is. And every once in a while, I'm like, what if? What if, though?
Well, that's
like, what if? Because everybody thinks it won't be them.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't just be like, well, it's not going to be here. Like, it could be.
It could be here. Well, that's like why it was so. There were so many moments where I was like, I understand why people would have hated this, and now it's kind of having a little bit of a second wind. So first of all, it's John Candy, who in like one of his last roles ever.
Right. So he's feeling.
So he's so charismatic.
Yeah.
And
John
Rhea
Candy
Perlman
is crazy for that.
Oh, he's nuts. He's so charismatic. He's very lovable.
Yeah, we watched last Christmas a random SCTV Christmas special for that thing.
Is it going down the road?
No, it was like random. We found it on like Vimeo because Reese and Griffin do that thing where they watch like random Christmas specials, and we couldn't finish it. It was so effing bad.
Oh dear,
it was horrible. But you watch John Candy and you're like, if I was a producer, like I would be like that guy.
That guy's a star.
Anyways, continue.
Oh, but there were just like so many moments where they were like, oh, this is where we like drop bombs, and they're playing like a video game, and they're like, how'd you know that was a nuclear plant? And he goes, oh, it wasn't. It was a hospital, but no one needs to know that. Like, there's just so many gags in it that are crazy.
That is crazy,
and
but
then
true.
Rhea Perlman at the end. Sorry, if you're worried about spoilers
for Canadian bacon,
Canadian bacon
came out 30 years ago, but no big deal.
Rhea Perlman shoots the CN Tower with a machine gun.
Oh, that sounds kind of funny.
It's honestly, I'm kind of a Canadian bacon truther. I'm
gonna listen. Where did you watch it?
On Tubi.
Yes, Tubi.
It's free on Tubi with ads every 12 minutes.
As is their right.
As is their right on Tubi.
Right.
But it is kind of like, I'm in no way saying this is like a good movie, but it was such a gag.
Yeah, no, I love
and
that.
it's all set in Niagara Falls.
Oh, okay.
Mostly.
I have to watch this. You're really selling me on
and
this.
There's so many just like stupid Canadian stereotype gags where like they have this like SWAT team come into like a Mountie office.
Yeah.
And then they punch the Mountie in the face, and every time he goes, oh, that's not nice. Oh, that's not nice. So stupid.
That's really stupid, but really
I
funny.
don't know. If you need just like a gag 90-minute movie to watch,
yeah,
highly suggest Canadian
that sounds
bacon.
like it'd be fun to watch high, you know?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You can just kind of relax.
Yeah.
I worry. I should stop talking about being high because I feel like teenagers listen to this. I should be a good example.
It's okay.
Stay
I feel
in
like
school.
we even each other out where you're like, I get high and watch funny movies, and I'm like, weed ruined my
yes,
life.
That's true. People can be addicted to weed. Blair is living truth. Not only that weed addiction is real, but that you can overcome.
You can overcome, and you can go from being really annoying to just sort of annoying.
Exactly.
And that's the truth.
So true.
So true.
That's
but
really
how are
it.
you? How was your opening night?
It was fine. We can talk about it.
Cool.
Um,
Carly's in a sold out Fringe show.
Yeah, bitch. Woo. There's like 5 tickets left now. If you want to go,
run.
but you don't have to. I find we talked about this before. We talked about this on the phone. It went really well. It's a lot of fun. I'm happy I said yes to writing the sketch show and doing the sketch show because it's like an experience to do something at the Toronto Fringe. And I do like comedy, and I like doing comedy. And everyone in the show is genuinely amazing. Because so much of what I do is like on my own.
Yeah.
Or like with you, like with one person where it's a conversation about everything.
Yeah. Oh. Can you sing with all the voices
of the winds?
Can you paint
this
with
friggin'
all
fucking
the colors of the wind?
Like, okay. Can you hear this? Can you guys hear this?
Can you guys? It is. I guess we'll find out.
We'll
later
find
whether
out
or
if it
not.
picks up.
There's a big helicopter making noise, and there was also a big gust of wind.
I love being outside.
I think the only people who are people.
Wow.
Are the people who look and think like you.
That's a great song. That is a great, great song.
I know.
Is that Tim Rice? Because he started.
It's just Alan Menken.
Tim Rice, because I watched Wait in the Wings, the YouTube channel does like.
Oh, yes. I like waiting. Wait in the wings.
They just did one about Chess, the musical. So they do like video essays about musicals, theater history.
Someone
and they
was
just
telling
did one
me to
about
listen
Chess.
to Chess. That it's like actually a banger.
Katie, my sister, loves Chess, and I started listening to it because they're doing not a reboot, a revival on Broadway with Leah Michele, Aaron Tveit, and someone else.
Okay.
And it's literally about an American and a Russian playing chess together.
Okay.
And the Russian is having a romance with an American woman, and he wants to leave Russia or whatever. But it's about like chess and the Cold War and whatever.
Sure.
But I listened to let me play one of the songs that I was like, this is, so imagine everyone in their brain, think about what you think Chess, the musical, might sound like. Okay?
I recently heard a clip from it, and it did.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the lyrics are written. The lyrics are Tim Rice, and I believe the music is written by the guys from ABBA.
Yes.
Yeah.
The bees. The bees from ABBA.
The Bees.
Bjorn and Bjorn.
Benny and Bjorn.
Benny and Bjorn.
It's a great video essay if you're interested. They do really, really good stuff. It's just they don't post a lot because they're busy fact checking and whatever.
Yeah.
But
Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. Well, it sounds true. You guys should check though.
To me,
kidding.
The oral tradition is upholding the oral tradition
Exactly.
of broken telephone is way more important.
No one's ever given enough credit for upholding broken telephone.
I agree.
Yeah.
Anyways, opening night was good. I have a hard time. I'm very self-critical.
Yes.
I have a hard time enjoying something that
Life.
I've worked on. I have a hard time enjoying life, period.
Yeah, period. Speak on it.
Working on something for a really, really long time and then showing it to people and not just being like, well, it could be better.
Yeah.
Even if it's fine. But that's just my brain. But I'm enjoying doing it so far. We also went
fun.
to my sister's birthday party this weekend.
Oh, yes. I was there for about an hour and had a great time. Ran into a friend, which was shocking because everyone there was 20. Ran into my one 20-year-old friend who isn't Katie.
It was interesting. Reese you brought a bunch of beer.
I brought 6 beers.
A bunch? A bushel?
It can sound like I brought a keg. I brought 6 bottles of Corona.
Yeah, Blair brought a keg. And then Reese broke a bottle on the ground. And we were like, we've
really
got to
funny.
go. It was a very chill, like, Gen Z party where it's like nobody was really drinking that much.
Yeah. I brought all my contemporary Canadian plays and gave them to Katie because I'm purging my house.
Beautiful.
And I'm just never going to read them again. But there's some bangers. Did
Hell
she keep any of them?
I mean, I guess she has them all.
Cool. Well, hope she enjoys them. Some Seeds is my favorite one.
What's that about?
Seeds is about the, oh my God, I'm going to butcher it because I haven't read it in a while. But years ago, there was this like big lawsuit by Monstera, I think was the name of it, where like the seeds from one farm blew into another farm and those seeds were copyrighted, but then like
but they're already there.
The wind was carried it, and then like they grew stuff and then sold it. It was this big like court case. I'm absolutely butchering it, but if you need
it's
a play
butcher.
to read. What'd I say?
Butchering it, like a buttress.
Buttress,
just like a.
What'd I say? Butcher.
It's fine.
Butcher.
Whatever you need to do.
Sometimes
you just have. I don't know if it's.
I have an accent.
Yes, it's your accent. It's genuinely your accent.
I have an accent.
No, you weren't there at the party when somebody was talking about, because me and my sister sound exactly the same.
You do.
It's like we have very similar cadences.
Your sister sounds more gay.
Thank you. She does. Well, she is more gay.
Yeah.
She is. There you go.
Oh my God.
She's like she's like Butch, and I'm,
whatever
stealth.
you are.
I'm whatever the hell I am.
Stealth.
I'm stealth. I'm fish. And somebody was like, "Oh my God, you guys like sound so similar. Like, did somebody in your family sound that way? Like, do you sound?" And we're like, "No, not really." And then somebody else went, "Yeah, it's funny. It's like the voice of somebody who speaks the same on and off stage. Like, they can't turn it off." And I was like, "Oh my God,
no.
you can't say that to me."
Absolutely brutalized.
What the fuck? And then somebody else across the table, just silently, who had been silent the whole time, went, "I did a project on you for school."
Where was this?
At the fucking picnic table. And then I was like, "What?"
Huh?
And they were like, "I saw you do an improv show and I had to write a paper on that improv show."
Oh my God.
It was funny.
Horrifying.
Yeah, it was not everything to me.
Really funny.
Because I was like, I feel like the show was bad. Like, what show is it?
Yeah.
Probably random as fuck. Because it's always a random Tuesday night.
Oh yeah, it's never like the show that you want people to see.
It's like I did a random show last night at 10 and somebody messaged me being like, "I love your YouTube. I came to see you." And I was like, "Oh, I should have clocked in."
What show?
Judgments.
Oh, that's not a random show. That's Judgments at the Toronto Fringe Festival.
The Toronto Fringe Festival.
The Toronto Fringe Festival. I'm so happy that our international audience knows about niche theater happenings in Toronto, Ontario.
Yeah, they're now well versed in Seeds and Judgments.
Yeah, just so you guys know. Judgments
at the Toronto Fringe Festival at the Tarragon Extra Space.
Tarragon Extra Space. I hate Toronto theater names, I will say. They're all so stupid.
Like the names of theaters.
Fuck you mean Tarragon? That's a spice.
I know. Well, there's 2 theater spaces at Soul Pepper where my Fringe show is, and it's the TD Financial Studio Space and the RBC Financial Studio Space.
The one I like, there's Theater Pass Marais, which means theater beyond the walls or something.
Yeah, I like that.
And they started by doing a show where all these theater artists went to a farm and they wrote a play about being on the farm, and they called it The Farm Show. And then later on, someone wrote a play about writing the play.
And isn't that just Toronto
called
theater?
The Drawer Boy.
Wow.
And I gave that to Katie, I think.
Well, hell yeah.
I don't think I gave her The Farm Show, though. I kept her that. But yeah, they're fine. I like that name.
And then it's a lot of just kind of like factory theater, assembly theater, alumni theater.
Theater Center.
Theater Center.
Yeah, it's a lot of theater.
That's
They're like,
fine.
just in case you don't know.
It is a theater. R-E, by the way. Not E-R. R-E.
R-E. Do people say not that?
There's a difference where it's like theater with an E-R, I think is like movie theater or something. I looked it up before I forget it. I don't know. I'm not helping you guys. I'm sorry.
When I was in New York and
Brag.
I can't remember
Huge brag.
what year it was. I think it was 2018 when I was in New York. And my friend worked at the Public Theater and I got to tour all the spaces and backstage.
It's amazing.
Really cool. And I feel like I didn't really
appreciate
how cool that was.
Yeah. That is so cool though.
Thanks, Amelia. She's swag.
She is swag.
I think she low-key works on Broadway. I should check that though.
Ooh, where is she? I want to know what show she's working on.
I don't know. She has like no social media presence. That's how you know she's
actually
she's a
successful
real
and
one.
really killing it. Yeah. It's my dream to be off the grid. Oh my God.
Right? But she's like a tech. She's a tech.
I love that.
It's a stagehand.
Yeah. That's all
That could
that's
mean
been going
anything.
on in my life. And obviously you saw that I'm planning my birthday party. And
I can't wait for
it's
your
gonna
birthday
be fun,
party.
I think.
Though I do think you maybe put the time too early.
Well, I put it early so people would come.
No, I mean like I don't think it opens till 9.
Oh, I'll change it then.
Yeah.
I want people in their brains to really think they're arriving around 10.
Yes.
So I sent it earlier than I would even plan to be here, but if it opens at 9, I'll change it.
No, that's smart. I can't wait. Because last year your birthday was fun.
Yeah.
But this one I think is going to be a real party.
This one's going to be a bash.
This one's going to be a bash.
Yeah, and I'm planning on like I'm going to sleep in the day before or the day of so I can stay out.
That's what
Because
you
I was
gotta
talking to
do.
Gazelle last night and she was like, I'm really going to be rushing over from my show because I know your bedtime and I want to see you. And I was like, I'm going to stay out. I'm going to stay out until at least last call.
We're going to, and last call is 1 a.m. where we're going.
Yeah.
And then we'll go to Drom for the 4 a.m. last call.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we're keeping you up.
Right?
You're going to bed at midnight still, but you know, we'll
No,
plan.
I want to stay at least until last call.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, no, we'll get you. We'll get you partying.
Because I have to be either on my birthday really sober and kind of like contemplative.
Yes.
Or like, you know.
Let's go and party. No, I feel you. Should we get into the top?
Yeah,
the
I think we
topics?
should.
Take a little break and there's a topic.
Bless you.
Oh no.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Should we talk about JFK's presidential candidacy?
JFK's presidential candidacy.
Let me pull the little scripty up.
I can't wait. We haven't talked about JFK in about 2 weeks.
So now, we're back.
Yeah, we're back because we took a week off last week. And then the week before that, we had to launch our merch.
We had to.
We had to launch our merch, which, by the way, thank you to everyone who's bought merch.
Yeah, that was amazing.
We hope you like it.
Yeah. I was really...
Period.
Yeah. I was really touched.
Right?
So we're going to be talking about JFK's presidential run.
Huge.
Yes.
I can't wait.
So in 1960, I want to talk about what the presidential campaign is defined by, because things are often defined by like what's going on. And it really is the Cold War. Like we're in the midst of the Cold War at this point. Like Chess the Musical.
Just like in Chess the Musical.
Just like in Chess the Musical. So obviously with the Cold War is like is tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union at the time.
Huge.
Communism and capitalism. Nothing's really happening. There's just the threat of like immense nuclear fallout. So it's kind of now vibes.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, that's not fair because like people are bombing each other. So it's not 100%
But they're not
cold.
nuclear bombing each other yet.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. But I think that's so interesting about the Cold War because I think we've almost just now hit a point where people are talking about it a bit more like we grew up talking about World War II.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like I
100% agree. The Cold War is back.
Yeah.
I really think espionage and spy Cold War era stuff is it I agree with exactly what you're saying of like I think it is the new World War II.
For sure.
For the culture.
Well, because a lot of our parents grew up being like the Cold War is a real threat. And it is scary to be like at any point we can just be obliterated.
Yeah, but
not
we
just
kind
attacked.
of relate to that now.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm like, yeah.
So I think it's a cultural touch point between like us and a previous generation, like the boomer kind of Gen X generation, where it's like, oh, we can all relate about something now.
Yeah, the threat is the same.
Yes.
Whereas before, like, kind of like the greatest generation had a real disconnect between the boomers because the greatest generation, everyone died in World War II.
Yeah, they're like, you guys won't have to go to war.
And then the boomers were like, Vietnam.
Vietnam.
Hello.
But even Vietnam, I feel like was a bit different.
It was all bad.
It was horrible. But I think that's why. I think because it was so televised and everyone was like, this is awful, there was a lot more sympathy. Whereas the World War II vets and the World War I vets were sort of like, you guys are heroes, and then they just lived with debilitating trauma
you're
for
so
the rest
true.
of their
They're like, no,
lives.
it's an honor to fight for your country.
Yes.
Whereas in Vietnam, people were like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah, and then they were just like, oh, you're a veteran who lost your leg. Good luck living on the streets.
Yeah, I hope you enjoy being on the street. You're welcome, by the way. Thank you for your service.
You're welcome. Thank you for your service, by the way. Or Lieutenant Dan or whatever his name was in Forrest Gump.
Oh, I don't remember. There's a West Wing episode where Toby plans a funeral for a homeless vet who had died. And it's one of those really rogue episodes. I kind of love when TV shows do this, where it's the second episode of season 2 is the most emotionally traumatizing episode of television you'll ever watch. And then it just continues on a different thing where they're like, we got to run for re-election.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck?
What was that?
What just happened?
I love when TV shows do a random kind of one-off where they really tackle a social issue.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I was thinking about the Always Sunny episode where they do a mini Israel-Palestine.
I haven't watched Always Sunny.
I've only watched it. Every time I've watched it, I've been like, this is the best show ever, but I've never committed to it long-term.
I think I would really like it because I saw the Abbott Elementary It's Always Sunny crossover and then was reading about It's Always Sunny and reading about all the stuff that happens on that show. I'm like, I think I would really like this show. It's so horrible. It's so mean.
Oh, yeah.
And offensive, but in a... I don't know well enough, but offensive in an aware way where the point is these characters are bad people.
Yeah, and by the point of it being so offensive and so aware that they're bad people, they end up being more progressive.
Yes, of course.
Because they just by the people being doing offensive things, we sort of look at them and say oh, you're being offensive by doing that.
Yes.
But then they also low-key kind of do literally they have a whole episode where an Israeli businessman buys their bar and kicks them out. And they literally do a thing where the bar is Palestine. It's actually crazy.
That's
and then
so
there's
crazy.
One of the love interests is a trans woman, and it's played for jokes, but it also was a trans
woman on TV. Yeah.
On TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was the point was that she was hot and a respectable person, and the guy was wrong for treating her like shit.
Yeah, that was
the
joke. Yeah, yeah.
So it's interesting. I do want to commit hardcore to it one day.
We should do that one
when
day.
I get mentally ill again.
Yeah, when I'm ready to body a TV show.
Yes.
Right now I'm just rewatching season 1 of Pretty Little Liars.
Huge.
And that's a a slippery slope.
No, and
I'm regressing, and that's okay.
No, but you have to.
Sometimes when you're really busy, you just have to regress, and that's
100%.
okay. So yeah. Well, the Cold War, the space race, and a U.S. U-2 plane was shot down in the Soviet Union.
Mm-hmm.
And this canceled President Eisenhower's trip to Moscow, so tensions are high.
Oh, dear.
We want a president that's, I feel like the 2000s, 90s version of tough on crime is tough
on Russia.
On Russia. Exactly.
Big on space.
First of all, we need to be in space.
Second of all, we need to bomb the shit out of Russia.
Exactly. And we're coming off of an Eisenhower, I believe it's an Eisenhower.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
We're coming off of an Eisenhower presidency, so it's been Republican.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm. And they love to swing the pendulum.
We do.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's more obsessed with swinging the pendulum than the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe never again. Hey, maybe never again. Maybe
they might have just cut the pendulum off.
Yeah, you don't have to go back to a Democrat if you have a king.
Oh, say, can you see the king?
By the dawn's
early king.
By the dawn's early king.
By the dawn's early king.
The lamparts we king, we're so gallantly king. All right. So where we last left off in the JFK of it all, we talked about JFK's kind of time in Senate.
Yeah, and he wasn't super into it.
He doesn't really like it very much.
Yes.
He doesn't really like being a politician. He's very good at it. He's very good at being elected. And he also, of course, has his father's money and connections behind him getting him elected, and the Kennedys, all the Kennedy siblings and the Kennedy family behind it. We also have to note, we've been talking about a concept where the Kennedys basically they believe that because they're Catholic, that feeling when you're Catholic, they believe that they are a gift from God.
Yes.
They have gifts to share with the world, and it is their duty to basically bring forth this American dynasty, this Democratic dynasty.
Yes.
Of Kennedys. I have been calling it Babylon.
Oh, you've been getting roasted for this.
It is Camelot.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Hollywood's Babylon.
Yeah.
Which is the period of the old, like the new kind of old Hollywood dynasty in like the 20s to the 40s. It's Camelot. It's Camelot.
Knights
so
of
let's
the Round
remember that.
Table.
Knights of the Round Table
You've been getting
vibes.
roasted for that online.
It's one person, and fair enough. They're just like, you're killing me. You are killing me. It is Camelot. It is not Babylon. You're killing me. And I respect anybody who's so deep into the Kennedy lore that bothers them.
Yeah.
Game recognizes game. Like, I have to be like, hey.
No, something like that would make me crazy if that
I know,
was
and
my
I'd be like,
niche.
it's my niche, so I need to speak up. So nothing but respect and love. So they've decided for the 1960 presidential campaign that Jack is going to run for presidency, and the entire Kennedy squad is behind them, because the general idea is like, the public might think that JFK is running for the presidency, but it's the Kennedys running for the presidency.
Oh yeah,
right?
It's like they want the family in.
Yes, exactly.
Not just a figurehead.
If you recall from the last presidential campaign, JFK made a bid for VP and wasn't accepted, which was ultimately good because that campaign, they didn't win, they lost, and those two people never really had like a political career beyond that.
Yeah.
So it was ultimately good.
That's also kind of a thing when I was looking into it, that like if you are like a failed VP candidate, you never progress from there.
Exactly.
Because I guess you get like too close to the sun and you burn out.
Yeah, they just think it's very much like you get one chance to do it.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if you were a successful VP and then try to run for president, that's fine. You know what I mean? It's just strange.
Yeah, for sure.
And JFK began a speaking tour across the states to kind of grow his public image in preparation to run for the 1960 presidential spot. I guess that's what that's what the title is. So he announces his campaign on January 2nd, 1960. He says he would compete in multiple primaries because basically to secure the nomination, you can compete in primaries and get the votes, or you can go to the DNC and just try your luck there. But it's more helpful to getting elected if you're a smaller candidate if you win the primaries. Does that make sense? So it's like if you're already like a pretty big wig in the DNC, in the Democratic Party, you can just show up to the Democratic Party and be like, I actually want to be the nominee. And you might have a chance of getting elected. But if you're smaller, you show up, you do a bunch of primaries, and then be like, look, I can be it. You know?
Yeah, like, look, I've gotten in on the ground floor kind of thing.
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
like, you can kind of circumvent it if you're already famous, but it's better to do the primaries because then you have, like, proof behind your campaign, right?
Then you're also, like, on the ground.
Yeah, people know you. You're not just, like... It's better if you also aren't famous because then you are building your profile for when you run. If you are the Democratic nominee, they want voters to be aware of you, right?
Yeah.
Like, they want people to turn out for you.
That also really is how, like, candidates get built up if they kind of come from the unknown.
Yeah.
Like, I just watched the Rob Ford documentary, and that's basically what he did. Was he just went, like, aggressively hands-on. He was like, everyone will know me.
Every once in a while, I'm like, I could be the Premier of Ontario.
Easily.
Should I be the Premier of Ontario?
Easily. I think that it's also, like, a very, like, well, maybe Americans, too, but, like, Canada just loves someone who's like, I'll fix it. And then we'll all go fishing.
Yeah, it's very, you have to be kind of like, I think, and you can clip this if I do ever make my bid for office.
Yeah.
I think the mistake a lot of people make, and I get it, like, you're being authentic, I think, more to yourself if you are just, like, a coastal elite, so to speak. Like, if you're running for the NDP, which is our kind of, like, Labour Party, like, more left than the Liberals, a lot of them, like, isolate a more center base because, not because of their policies, but because they just seem very city.
Yeah.
Where I think you need the Jack Layton of it all, where my whole thing would be, like, I just love riding my bike
through the forest,
in my traditional marriage.
My best friend is a bear.
My best friend is a bear. I love riding a bike. I love just like cooking.
I love cooking.
Camping.
I love to go collect beaver pelts.
Exactly. Like, I think you need to tap into the Canadiana of it all.
Yeah, 100%.
Because that is what the Ford brothers have. Of like, they do seem aggressively Ontario.
Well,
like, that's Ontario.
It was also so funny because I was talking to oh God, I'm forgetting his name, so I'm not going to say it. But my friend who was over watching the movie was like, my dad was like, oh yeah, I used to like buy weed from them.
Yes,
like,
they're drug dealers.
Like,
yes,
they were drug dealers.
Yes.
And like they were well-known drug dealers. Like you ask any guy who grew up in Etobicoke who's like
the Ford
56
brothers
years old
would just sell you like hash and marijuana.
Easily. And so, but like Canadians like that shit.
I know. And it's the buck of beer thing too. Like,
I know.
The whole promise of being like, when I get elected, beer will be $1. It has never happened, by the way.
Doug Ford obsessed with beer.
Yeah, obsessed
that guy
with,
is so worried about beer.
Imagine if I'm running for mayor of Toronto and I'm like, listen, I do want bike lanes. But I love beer.
I love beer. And we're going to make the beer available in the bike lanes. There's going to be beer vending machines in the bike lanes.
Exactly. All the money from beer we'll use for the bike lanes.
Yeah.
So we love beer.
Like Doug Ford's funniest moment, I still do think to this day, was, well, when he ate a bee, that was funny.
Yeah. Oh, that's a bee.
Yeah. Oop, that's a bee. But I do also love when he, like immediately upon Trump putting tariffs on alcohol, he was like, well, we're taking all your beer out of the LCBO.
Because that's genuinely how he thinks. And he isn't wrong. But he's like, that's how I'm going to hurt you the most because I love beer.
I love beer. So
what would piss me off the most? if you took all my
take
beer
away the beer.
You can't buy, and it did work in the trade war in the sense that it fucked over people like Republican senators in southern states because if it's like Tennessee whiskey and you can't sell Tennessee whiskey, there's nothing Canadians love more than like to buy a Tennessee whiskey.
Oh, Canadians love something named after America too.
Yeah, we have a complex.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so continuing on. JFK also said when he announced his presidency that he would rather be in the Senate than be vice president. So if he loses he's like, if I lose, I lose. Mm-hmm. I'd rather be a senator. I don't want to be a vice president. I'm going to be a president.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So his candidacy is defined by a couple things. It's his youth. He's 43 at the time, but he'd be the youngest president ever elected. And he also reads young. Something that I think is really interesting is eventually when he does get the nomination, he's running against Richard Nixon.
That's crazy.
I know.
The oldest looking man ever.
But Nixon is 47 and JFK is 43.
Yeah, but they look astronomically.
Nixon reads old.
Oh, yeah.
And JFK reads young. Mm-hmm. And like that's the whole Kennedy branding of being like, we're young, we're virile, we're athletic, we're smart, whatever. He's very like, Nixon's very like tradition. And Nixon's campaign, which we get to as well, is very based off of like being almost like the JFK, where he's like, I'm very experienced, because the marker of JFK's youth is that he's, his candidacy is defined by the fact his youth, his religion, because he's Catholic and there'd been no Catholic president before him, and his inexperience, especially in foreign affairs, was the kind of concern point, the pinch point, right? But he was also very, very charismatic, and this is kind of like, we touch on this a little bit more when we get into the debates, but his candidacy for me is really defined by like, he's like the first kind of like television president.
Yeah.
Like he's very, very charismatic, very well spoken, but beyond that, understands like the visual aspect of television.
Oh, I like that.
You know, and we'll get more to that when he actually does the debates against Nixon. But that's part of it. And they just understand like pop culture. Bobby is his campaign manager, and they really tap into like pop culture, a lot of stuff that just people do now for presidential campaigns, which I think is very, very interesting.
Yeah, because it does kind of seem like, looking at history, like he's the first guy who kind of does it like that.
Yes.
Whereas now I feel like it's very expected for presidential candidates to have social media presence or like television presence.
And what I think that JFK did, and I think that like Obama did well, and that I think kind of is missing from a lot of other campaigns who try and tap into this, is it's like, it needs to be authentic.
Yeah, it needs to feel everyman.
It needs to feel like something that you would do. Like Obama just he played as cool, you know? Like, and yes, he did do so much carpet bombing.
Oh yeah, but like if you're a president, you're a war criminal.
Yeah, you're a war criminal, period. But
facts.
And facts.
And facts.
But like,
on God,
it feels authentic for both of them. The kind of thing they're trying to do is it's not like Pokemon Go to the polls, where it's like
Pokemon Go to the polls.
You should just kind of do what your general vibe is, as opposed to trying to play on somebody else's playing field, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
It'd be like, no, I'm not going to do a TikTok.
Because it's not me.
Yeah, and if it is you, then it is you. But if it's not, then don't do that. Because then it's cloying. Where it's like JFK plays very, very cool. So he wins the New Hampshire primary easily, has a harder time in Wisconsin. He won his other seats due to basically his father's money and his father's influence, right? Like,
sure.
They just have way more money to put behind a campaign, and because they're not like using super PACs or like huge donors, he's not beholden then to these kinds of like, oh, well, I got $2 million from like the dairy industry, so now I've got to ride for the dairy industry in order to get elected, right?
Yeah.
So this is kind of like finding his sea legs, but there is obviously a huge amount of Kennedy money that is put behind his campaign, and a huge amount of Kennedy influence that's put behind his campaign. But you do actually just need success within the like
The general
establishment.
public,
The
yeah.
general public and the establishment, because you need, like, if I'm running in Wisconsin, if I have a Wisconsin senator riding for me, that's like a big deal in Wisconsin. That's huge for me, right?
Absolutely.
Or like the governor or whatever. So in Wisconsin, oh my God, he's running against his main competitor, which is Hubert Humphrey, I believe his name is, which sounds a lot like what? Yeah, Hubert Humphrey. What's the name of the guy in Lolita?
Oh yeah,
Isn't it exactly that? Basically?
I feel like it's. Okay, I'll check. You keep going.
So Hubert Humphrey is one of the other people making a huge bid during the primaries for the nomination. So he is sorry, I'm just fixing the chair. It was driving me crazy. He is a senator from Minnesota, which is closer by, so he has more connections in the local kind of politician sphere. And the reason I wanted to include this is because Hubert Humphrey tried to get the governor of Wisconsin to basically act as like a favorite son stand-in for him. So come and be like, I'm famous to you guys, so I endorse Hubert Humphrey, so he doesn't have to come here and talk to you guys because like I'm endorsing him and you guys like me. Vibes.
Okay, cool.
But the reason I'm including this is because the governor's name is Gaylord Nelson.
Shut up. Oh my God.
First name Gaylord.
Bring it back. I'm going to name my son Gaylord.
My son Gaylord is a beautiful name for a baby boy.
Okay, his name apparently in Lolita is Humbert.
Okay. So this
Tough.
guy's Humbert Humphrey, but
Jesus,
sounds basically
that's
the same. But a Wisconsin
Gaylord.
senator threatened to be a stand-in for Kennedy if Humphrey used the governor as a stand-in, so then both of them had to end up campaigning there.
Okay.
The Kennedy siblings basically decided to pawn Wisconsin, drumming up votes and canvassing for votes however they saw fit.
Sure.
Huge network of just like truly 10 siblings to do just
Huge.
to do whatever they want. And
they're all crazy.
They're all insane. They all want this, and they're all just like, what I think is so interesting about JFK's presidential campaign is like in my brain, I'm like, everybody here is 19 and it's like you graduate from high school, you graduate from university, and like duh, you join the family business of whatever. They're in their 30s.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They quit their jobs to do this of their own volition because they want to.
Yeah.
Besides Ted, everyone is on fucking board for this.
Yeah.
They're in. They're like, we're going to Wisconsin this week and we're all going to canvass. Like, they're excited for it. Because I feel like there is...
This is our business.
There is like a weird... The Kennedys and the way that they treat their women specifically is obviously like not good.
Yeah.
But I think what's interesting about that is like the Kennedys very much like, yes, women in the Kennedys are raised basically to support the men. Mm-hmm. But it's not a begrudging. It's like a set of values you are raised with.
Yeah.
That you don't necessarily question.
No.
As opposed to being like, oh, I've got to support the men. It's like, no, like Eunice was like, ride or die, we're getting Jack elected.
Yeah.
Everybody's there like and happy to contribute to this because a win for Jack is a win for the entire family.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all there canvassing for more votes. This in turn makes Humphrey give a quote where he says he feels like an independent merchant running against a chain store just because of the like sheer amount of Kennedys and their wealth.
They're all franchising.
Yes. Also, JFK has Frank Sinatra, who's a fan of the Kennedys, a friend of the Kennedys, rewrite one of his songs to be a JFK jingle that they play now as he's getting the nomination, but then also as he's running against Nixon.
That's iconic.
Everybody wants to go back, Jack. Jack is on the right track because he got high hopes. He's got high hopes. 1960s, the year for his high hopes. Come on and vote for Kennedy. Vote for Kennedy and we'll come out on top. Oops, there goes the opposition. But it's Frank fucking Sinatra in 1960. Like,
yeah,
he's
what
like
the hell?
Fucking still very,
you got
very
it in the
famous.
bag.
Yeah. Old Blue Eyes is in your corners.
That's nuts.
Yeah, so he wins Wisconsin with 56% of the vote. Also, they give filmmaker Robert Drew up-close access to Kennedy in Wisconsin, and they produce a documentary about his trials in Wisconsin and his ability and his like fight to get the vote.
Okay.
Which is never really done before. Again, it's like utilizing like pop culture. It's not social media because social media doesn't exist yet. But this documentary being like JFK, yes, he's a politician, but he's also like a figure of culture. Mm-hmm. He is a star, so to speak, right? Yeah. So then wins Illinois, Massachusetts as a write-in with no other Democrats on the ballot, and wins Indiana with minor opposition. Next, they go on to West Virginia, and West Virginia is a primarily Protestant state.
Okay.
So Joe Sr. says, don't do the West Virginia primary. You're going to get absolutely killed on the religion thing because they're all Protestants. Mm-hmm. And then he also calls it a nothing state, which is so insane.
Dude, Joe Sr. needs to shut his damn mouth.
I know. It's like there is no like end to the bad takes that he has that are random bad takes. It's like
Yeah.
bad takes that nobody asked him to have. He's like, West Virginia is a nothing state, and by the way, I am a Nazi.
That's the thing. Also, like, West Virginia is Appalachia, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's like, that's also pretty charged to be saying shit like that about West Virginia.
They'll do shit. They'll organize. They'll organize.
Fuck off, man.
Yeah, it's because of like the primary votes, right? Because like he's trying to basically accumulate primary votes, and West Virginia, same thing as like, you know, Virginia and Maryland. Like, it's not like California or whatever where there's a huge amount of votes to be had there. But Jack goes anyways and campaigns in West Virginia. He's challenged to a television debate against Hubert Humphrey, and he kills it. Of course, like he really reminds me of Zoran Mamdani. Maybe it's because like this is just happening right now.
Yeah.
But like I find that like Zoran's like social media campaign like fascinating because it's like not cringe. He feels very first of all, they're both speech and debate kids using their powers for good. Just like very, very charismatic and well spoken, but like not in like a traditional politics well spoken, in like I like this guy. Yeah. Charismatic. He's just like us, well spoken. And they're both using their kind of like youth as a means to like exist in whatever primary source of media is making the culture at that point in a very natural way, where it's like JFK is speaking to the camera in these television debates as opposed to speaking to the other person, but he's speaking in a very like naturalistic, relaxed way, as opposed to being very stiff, which is like, and being very like formal and political.
Yeah.
So he slays this television debate, wins West Virginia, and then goes into the DNC.
Cool.
So he has 600 of the 761 votes he needs for the delegation. The majority of the Democratic Party is behind him, but former President Harry Truman is not a fan and kind of starts an anti-Kennedy movement.
Oh, God, okay.
And is there anything more DNC than being like, there's this new exciting guy that has really charged voters, and the DNC is like, no,
I don't feel like it. No thanks.
No.
By the way, I'm fucking Harry Truman.
Yeah, I suck ass.
Who's even there?
And Lyndon Johnson, who, if
Love
you
him.
recall, was the head of the Senate, I believe, when JFK was in it, and like hated him and was like, he's lazy, he's a playboy, he doesn't want to do anything here, has basically planned, he didn't do any of the primaries, but planned to kind of do that backdoor route of run for present himself as a compromise candidate. So,
like, compromise candidate being like,
guys, I'm like,
yeah, like, I'm right here.
I'm right here. I'm
it
easy.
all done.
You know me.
It's in the bag with me.
Yes. Truman supporters also bring up JFK's health, claiming that his Addison's disease would prevent him from performing his presidential duties. And JFK has his doctor falsely state that his adrenal glands are normal and he doesn't have Addison's.
Don't kill me. I mean, but like, to be honest, like the fucking ableism there.
That's what I'm saying.
Real.
Like, ask not what ableism can do for you, but what you can do for ableism.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
If it's gonna like,
work with it, not against it.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't know. FDR was in a wheelchair and hid that, so I don't know. It feels like you can just if people are gonna use ableism to undercut, I don't have a problem with lying about that. To be honest,
just lie.
I feel like maybe it's because I'm so desensitized right now to like having both Biden and Trump's doctors be like, they don't have dementia. Don't worry about it. And I'm watching them talk and I'm like, it seems like they might have dementia. So I'm like, it's not as bad as that.
I'd rather
so
them
really
just
care.
say they have dementia.
Yeah.
So then we know.
Yeah.
Like, it's bananas.
Yes. So Lyndon Johnson challenges JFK to a televised debate. Horrible move. Again, this is the thing we're kind of going to see. The real Achilles heel of every single person challenging JFK throughout this presidential run is they're like, let's do a televised debate. You're young. I'm old. I've been doing radio debates forever. I'm fine. And then JFK comes in, absolutely charismatic, slays it.
Yeah.
So the public generally agrees that JFK, again, wins this debate. Yeah. And he secures the nomination and names Johnson as his VP candidate.
Slay!
As he's accepting the nomination, he gives his famous New Frontier speech, which he says, for the problems are not all solved and the battles are not all won, and we stand today on the edge of a new frontier. But the new frontier of which I speak is not a set of promises, it is a set of challenges. It sums up not what I intend to offer to the American people, but what I intend to ask to them.
Damn,
Great.
girl, let's go.
So now he's the Democratic nominee. He's running against Richard Nixon for the presidency.
Oh my God.
Yes. One thing that I find funny when I was looking into this is that Kennedy runs basically the first televised presidential attack ads.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And he would.
He would.
Leave it
He's
to
messy.
a damn Catholic.
He's a messy Catholic.
to be like, they've sinned.
But have you considered that they're sinners?
Have you considered that they're sinners? Have you considered Catholics are petty as fuck?
They are. And as, you know, that's kind of fine.
Yeah.
I think that
Go for it.
that aligns. They have so much shame. It's only right that they also try and enact the shame on others.
Yeah, for sure.
So in the ad, a reporter asks Eisenhower about Nixon's experience because Nixon was Eisenhower's vice president.
Sure.
And they say, I wonder if you could just give us give us an example of a major idea of his that you had adopted. Okay? And Eisenhower responds and says, if you give me a week, I might think of one. I don't remember.
Oh my God. Don't kill me.
So they run that being like, is this who you want to be president?
That's
because
tough.
also Nixon's like,
You gotta not be saying stuff like
yes,
that.
Nixon is running being like, I am establishment. The establishment loves me. Things have
Mhm.
been going so well from the last presidency. I am just going to continue the good times, the peace, the prosperity of the
Sure.
Eisenhower administration. So having Eisenhower be like,
I don't know.
it undercuts that, you know?
Yeah, that's too bad.
Another part of the campaign that I think is really cool, and obviously, again, we've been teasing the Jackie episode forever. We're going to do a full Jackie episode, but Jackie is basically diagnosed as pregnant as the campaign is about to start.
Diagnosed as pregnant?
It's terminal. That's just how I think.
Diagnosed as pregnant is crazy.
Well, a doctor does tell her she's pregnant.
It's not a She's diagnosed as pregnant.
She's
Damn.
diagnosed as pregnant.
You've got issues, dude. Come on.
And
All right, let's
she's
just move on from that. Jesus Christ.
But she's ordered on bed rest. She can't
Okay.
follow Jack to the different campaign
okay,
stops.
so she's got a tough pregnancy.
Yes.
Diagnosed as pregnant.
But what she does is other stuff. She basically becomes a campaign wife. She can speak Spanish. And
That's cool.
And she does a
Okay, Mamacita.
mamacita. Hands off, Gabriella. Gabriella,
Off,
hands off.
Gabriella. Gabriella.
Hands off of my fella la la.
La, 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 la.
So she does an ad speaking Spanish, appealing to the Hispanic vote.
Cool.
She also starts basically a Substack. Like she has a column called Campaign Wife. That's basically just a newsletter about what's going on in her life as a campaign wife.
Dude, she's cool. I'm gonna start doing that.
Yes, it's not a bad idea. And she does a bunch of TV commercials, gives interviews, and also her fashion choices get a lot of attention at this time because she's very chic, very fashion forward.
And she's like a Chanel girl, isn't she?
Yeah, very French designer. She loves her French designer.
Is it
So
Dior?
she's a Chanel girl. She loves
Yeah.
little Chanel two-piece suits, but
Yeah.
she loves a lot of other French designers as well. But the two-piece little Chanel tweed suits is kind of what she's known for.
Yeah, and she's got the little bouffant too, like the
Exactly.
little hairdo,
Little Lego hair.
little
basically.
hat,
Little hat, little webbing,
hat,
little netting from
little
the
net,
hat.
little hat
all
netting.
one color. And
Little-
she gets in like
little
a bunch of
bob.
magazines, kind of like Who Wore It Better vibes, and is named as like one of the best dressed women of the 1960s.
And
all
she
these
is,
things.
honestly,
and she
tea.
is. Because she's just like classy. Like before then, it was
Mm-hmm.
very like again. These are people who seem and project kind of youth. Where before first ladies kind of like they're like don't take attention from your president husband, like fade into the
Yeah.
background. It's like no, Jackie is chic.
Yeah.
Jackie is a fashion queen. She's a fashion
Yeah.
girl. She's a West Village girl.
Ooh, okay.
She also gets criticized at this time for spending so much time on her outfits and preferring French designers over American designers. But it's like womanhood is a prison.
That's so interesting.
The way that she kind of combats this is she refuses to talk about her fashion choices during the campaign. Like she'll wear her chic little outfits, but she's not going to talk about.
I mean, good for
clothes,
her.
which I like.
Why would she talk about it respectfully?
Yes. So now let's talk about the debates. We talked about before how all of the debates are heavily televised, and it's kind of new, right?
Mhm.
They're used to radio debates. There's some kind of crazy.
See here, if you elect me and not my opponent here.
Yeah, it's not about how you look, right? It's really about how you sound, and it's a much more formal medium.
Yeah.
So it's like there are so many minor things that we all kind of know now, especially because of social media, of just like everybody like knows your color season and what looks good, how to do
Yeah,
your
for
makeup
sure.
to be on TV or whatever, but they don't know any of that, right? And they don't know how to like use the visual medium in their aid in the way that people just kind of inherently know like how to seem like casual and cool now.
Yeah.
You know, the visual indicators of how somebody can be.
Mm-hmm.
And in 1950, only 11% of Americans have a TV. But by 1960, it's 88% of Americans have a TV.
That's bananas, eh? Like how
Yes.
fast that happened.
70. Oh,
Beep.
meep.
Meep.
An estimated 70 million Americans, which is 2/3 of the electorate, watched the first televised debate on September 26th
Wow.
between Nixon and JFK. So as you know, like the two camps decide on the number of debates, all of the things, right? Like that's how they decide. And Nixon's camp was like, do not do a televised debate because you are more famous than him. You are going to give him way more exposure.
Yeah, you're going to give him your platform.
Yeah.
Nixon's
got kind of a he's got an Achilles heel. He's got, what is it called when it's like hubris. He has hubris.
Yes.
And he's like, I'm a good debater. And he is like a good debater, but he just doesn't know how good a debater can be.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, let's just do a debate. Let's do a televised debate. They agree on 3 televised debates. Okay?
Sure.
So Kennedy meets the day before with the producer of the debates to discuss the design of the set and the placement of the cameras.
Okay, cool.
Nixon was just out of the hospital after an infected knee injury.
Oh, no.
He did not take advantage of the opportunity to meet with the producers or whatever.
Well, and honestly, yeah.
He didn't know that. Also, like, again, he's not thinking about why you would meet with them. He's like, I know how to debate, so it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So Kennedy wears a blue suit and shirt to cut down on the glare and appears sharply focused against the gray background. Also, it's black and white, so he appears highly contrast.
Yeah.
He's also very tan, so he doesn't seem pale or anything like that. He just seems very like
he got
pops.
off his surfboard and walked
pops.
to the debate.
Exactly. Where Nixon wears a gray suit and blends into the set.
Oh dear.
Nixon's also sweating a lot.
Why?
Like he's just really sweating.
It's the infection.
It's
been
spread.
diagnosed as sweating.
He's been diagnosed as sweating. So
That's
he's
tough.
sweating a lot. And as I said before, Kennedy's directing his answers to the camera, where Nixon's directing his answers to Kennedy.
Mm.
So Kennedy just comes off like really great.
Just knows what he's doing.
Yes. So yeah, so with the harsh studio lighting that makes Nixon sweat, and his less than commanding presence because he's sweating a lot. He just seems he's in high contrast to like just like a very tan, relaxed, chill Kennedy.
Yeah.
Who looks great.
That's tough.
So the debate does not go well. Almost overnight, the issues of experience and maturity fade from the campaign.
Yeah.
Kennedy seems much more poised and relaxed. And even though Nixon tries to fight against this in the 2 subsequent debates, it's like, I actually think there's 4 debates in the 3 subsequent debates. It doesn't matter because it's like, it's been won. Yeah. There's a fake statistic that I think is interesting, even though it's not true. But I like kind of these like falsities in history that we learn. It's the same thing as like the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Mm-hmm. Like, why would we think that he's holding a sandwich or whatever? Like, it's just interesting.
Like how we make the story tells us a lot about our perception of it.
Exactly. So it's a fake statistic of being like, everybody who watched if they polled everybody who watched the debate on TV and they said that Kennedy won, and then they polled everyone who listened to the debate on radio and they said that Nixon won, which is like it's not true, but it's like the essences of it is maybe true of being like, if you are listening to it in a more traditional sense, Nixon succeeds on the playing field and the rubric that was set in the past.
Yeah, sure.
Where Kennedy succeeds on this kind of new playing field, right?
Mm-hmm. And it is so interesting. I think about this politics a lot, like how we oscillate between wanting someone who really brings in like a new age and wanting someone who really has a lot of experience.
Yes.
It's really
yeah, well, because it's all like reaction. Like we all react. It's not reactionary. It's all in reaction to like, you know, whatever is the status quo.
Yeah, fluctuates between one another.
Exactly. Because it's so funny, like, reading this now, I was like, I don't really see issues of inexperience as a problem because, like, we know now that it's, like, a team around you. Like, so I'm like, yeah, it doesn't really matter if the person themselves, to me, is experienced more so than just, like, I trust them to be smart and make good decisions.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
But I also think, like, we're living in a time now where there's much more inherent trust on, like, career politicians, right? So it's like, that's how I feel now, but like that's not necessarily how people would feel in a different time.
Yeah, but also I do think that like Trump kind of won on this like not being a politician thing.
He did, yeah.
You know, and then we oscillated back to Biden and then oscillated back to Trump. Like it's very weird.
Yes. So another factor I would say in Kennedy winning this is the way in which he it's also just like a Nixon fucked up on when he was campaigning for like the Republican nomination. He said that he was going to visit every single state and campaign in every single state. And as we know from the Electoral College, it's like there's like 7 states
that matter,
that you need to hit, and everyone else doesn't matter. I don't think it's how you should run a country, but it is how they've decided.
It is bananas.
While Nixon was following up on his promise to campaign in every single state, Kennedy was able to just focus on the really important states.
Yeah.
And the swing states and all that stuff. So on Election Day, which was November 8th, Kennedy wins the popular vote by less than 120,000 votes.
Oh my God.
Out of a record 68.8 million ballots.
Oh my God.
Kennedy wins the Kennedy wins the Electoral College vote more clearly, winning 303 votes to Nixon's 219 votes. The closeness of this election obviously brings forth the stop the count, vote fraud, whatever.
Oh, God,
okay. But Nixon separates himself and distances himself from this, where it's like the Republican Party is like, we need to check and make sure. Nixon's like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm going to come back much later and
really fuck things up. Yeah.
The way I'm about to
he's
draft
cool for that.
everyone.
He's cool for that.
Oh, I'm pissed you guys aren't voting for me. Get ready to be drafted.
Get ready to be drafted.
I'm going to draft your
ass. Get ready to fucking go.
Yeah.
Idiots.
And by the way, Watergate.
And also Watergate.
Yes. So the last thing I want to talk about, that's basically the presidential run. We'll talk about his presidency and all these different things later. Is there are rumors which are not substantiated that the mob got him elected.
Let's go!
Because of Joe Sr.'s ties to the mob, which we have talked about before, of like the Kennedys are kind of in shady dealings, but they're in shady dealings in the way of like that a rich person is in shady dealings.
Yeah, hey, who isn't in shady dealings?
You know?
Especially in politics, like if you're not in shady dealings with one person, you're in shady dealings with another, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Like the general theory, which I don't think is actually true. Maybe there's a kernel of truth to it, but it's basically like a JFK assassination theory where Joe Sr. was a bootlegger, which he wasn't. So we're off on a wrong, tough foot to start on. And he got connections to the like Massachusetts Boston mob.
Okay.
And then through his connections with Frank Sinatra, got connections to the Chicago mob. Cool. And basically promised them if they get JFK elected, Bobby will become the attorney general, which did happen.
Cool.
And they will not prosecute like organized crime dealings.
Which they didn't?
And they'll have friends in the White House.
I mean,
but
sure.
Joe Sr. after the because the campaign like destroyed so many of the Kennedys. Like Eunice checks herself into a hospital basically immediately after the campaign. Joe Sr. does too because he has a stroke.
Oh my God.
So then the theory goes that because Joe Sr. had a stroke, he didn't fill in JFK or Bobby that he was doing this. So he has a stroke, can't tell them. Bobby basically immediately starts prosecuting organized crime.
That's funny.
And that's why Bobby and JFK get assassinated.
Oh my God. Okay.
I don't think this is true. I think he probably did have some kind of connections to the mob and organized crime, as again most politicians do.
Sure.
I don't think you wouldn't tell Bobby and JFK. I think you literally have to and should.
Yeah.
And there's like a big, not to be like, I don't know a lot about being in the mob. Okay, I don't know the mob.
I wouldn't expect that of you either.
But there is like a thing in the mob I've read that you don't whack like politicians because it draws a lot of attention to you.
Yeah,
you know what
it's
I mean?
like a stupid thing.
Like you're not gonna whack fucking JFK and then Bobby point blank because it's gonna draw so much attention to you. Because also like the general like the public like the higher ups in politics want to prosecute the mob. Generally speaking, like that's like a big.
So they will find you.
Yeah, that's
big
truck with a Canadian flag on the side. Terrifying.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, Canada.
Exactly. So that I don't really buy into that, but I do think it's interesting again because it is like something that when people talk about JFK, like some random person will have read like a Reddit thread being like, you know, JFK got elected because of the mob.
And then they got killed because of the mob.
Yes. Where I think it's more just like, you know, if we're talking about like the Chicago mob, it's generally Italian
Yeah.
at the time. I'm making sweeping generalizations about the mob.
I don't know if that's a sweeping generalization.
And, you know, if you talk to Frank Sinatra and Frank Sinatra connects you with the Chicago mob and Frank Sinatra says, we're going to vote for Jack, then you have the Italian vote in Chicago.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, right? Like, I think it's more kind of, I would imagine it's more similar to that.
Yeah. Other than like it being nefarious dealings.
Yes.
Sure.
So that's that.
Wow. Thank you, Carly.
Of course. Shall we?
Yeah.
Let's make this tragedy about us. Welcome to the part of the podcast where we take the tragedy and
make it about us.
We make it about us. What celebrity endorsement you're running for president in 1960?
Okay.
What celebrity endorsement are you getting?
Oh, it's 1960?
Yes.
Oh, that's tough.
You can also do modern day too. I want to hear 1960 and then
Barbra
I want to hear modern
Streisand.
day. Love that. Iconic.
Bob, what?
You get the gay vote.
Yeah, I get the gay vote and I get the musical theater vote.
Yeah.
Out the gate. And yeah, I don't really like who the fuck else is even around in 1960. Elvis.
Yeah, Elvis would be huge.
And then today.
Yeah.
Today, I think I would want to get. I think I would want to get. I don't know why this comes to mind. I think I'd really want like the Riot Girls behind me.
Yeah, that'd be huge.
Like I want Bikini Kill.
Bikini Kill is coming
Giving
out of
me
the woodwork to give you a big endorsement.
Yeah, La Tigra is coming out. Really, Kathleen Hanna's.
Really, they're like,
Getting
we
into
are
politics.
Blair McMillan for city comptroller.
Famously anarchist subculture riot girl.
Yes.
Is backing me as a liberal candidate for Canada.
Okay. I have two answers to this.
I'm
so obviously
excited.
in the past, I want Hepburn.
Yeah, that's
I don't know
good.
how famous she's
That's
in
good.
1960 specifically.
Audrey Hepburn?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I would also love Katharine Hepburn.
I know, I was gonna say both the Hepburns.
Yes, I want two Hepburns.
Yeah, both Hepburns on your side.
Exactly. I want like the old Hollywood. I want the chic girl
Yeah.
showing up. When does who was the gay Hollywood star? His name isn't Clark Gable, but it's like he's got like a fake name.
It's
He's gay, famously gay.
No, he's gay, and he's mentioned in
He had
Look at Me,
AIDS.
I'm Sandra D.
Look at me, I'm Sandra D.
D,
Lousy
lousy
with
with-
Virginia.
No.
Won't go to bed till I'm legally what I can't. I'm Sandra D.
D.
Watch, hey, I'm Doris Day. I was not brought up that way. Won't go to bed. Even Rock Hudson.
Rock Hudson. I knew it. Rock
We
Hudson.
got there.
And we got there.
Yeah. Or I want Rock Hudson if he's alive. Still.
Yes,
Like
okay.
I want kind of like the Hollywood elites who are kind of like people are like, oh no, but you don't want them. But I'm like, but we do.
But I
You
want
do. I want the
them.
housewife vote.
I want Rock Hudson.
Yes. And then modern day, Luigi Mangione.
Yes, from prison.
And then John McCain.
He's dead.
Yeah, from Beyond the Grave.
Okay, cool.
Because imagine if I had John McCain
and Luigi
and
Mangione.
Luigi Mangione. I'm covering my bases.
Your answers are way better than mine,
well,
by the way.
it's always going to end up that way. Whoever thinks that the question
Yeah,
has a
'cause
better
you've been thinking
you
about
know
it.
the question exists.
That's true. John McCain, Luigi Mangione, amazing answers. Yeah, you've got everyone covered at that point.
Exactly. It's like, what's your problem with me? You know.
I don't know. John McCain pissed off a lot of Republicans.
But I feel like there's kind of like the grand, like I'm not gonna get like the crazy Republicans.
Yeah,
but
if you want to get the true blue Republicans,
I'm never gonna get
get
them.
a John McCain.
But it's like I'm never gonna get like the far right. That's never gonna happen. But I could get the people who are like, this party used to mean something.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I get people that are like, you know, what happened to the grand old party? You know, I think I could get those people.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
and they've got a point. Those people.
Yeah, it's like your party used to be like. Still kind of like, oh, I'm getting a phone call. Who is it? My dad. I'll pick up later.
Mr. Thorne.
Yeah, I just texted him, can I call you later? But that's that.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, Carly.
Thank you. And thank you guys for listening.
Thank you guys for listening, as always. Oh, also, we should say we're doing a WikiLeaks series over on the Patreon.
Yes, we've started our 4-part WikiLeaks series.
It's going to be...
If you want to hear me kind of talking about a thing I'm obsessed with specifically and trying to convince you to care about it.
It's going to be huge.
Oh boy. Do I have the series for you on our Patreon?
I care about it. And as always, thank you and we love you so much and we'll see you next week.
See you next week. Take care. Bye.
Bye.